Shit, okay. Hi, it's me, Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut, and guess where I am? Well, I think you know. If you're tuning in right now, you probably can assume you know exactly where I am. I am standing here about, what am I, 7 miles-ish, about 10 kilometers away from Falcon Heavy, and we are awaiting. We did just get news that it's being delayed until the end of their launch window, which is 8:32 p.m. Eastern time, which I don't know what time that is UTC, because, you know, it's been one of those days where I'm not paying attention to that stuff. That's what the countdown clock is for. Hopefully that's rolling up here in the upper hand corner, and that'll let you know when this thing's about to take off. And this is an exciting launch. This is the second Falcon Heavy launch. Of course, a year ago, just over a year ago, we had the first launch. And I hope most of you probably have seen that and probably loved it, as I did. And we're going to go through the pre-launch preview right away so that you guys have an idea of what we're doing. Also, I hope that all this goes well. This is the first time I'm doing a setup like this. So wish me luck. It's hopefully going to be a more stable live stream than things that I've produced in the past remotely, but let me know. So here is our pre-launch preview. This is SpaceX's Falcon Heavy rocket, and it's taking off today, April 10th, 2019, again at 8:32 Eastern, which is 32 UTC on the 11th. This is the Arabsat 6A communication satellite for Arabsat. The launch provider is, as you can guess, SpaceX. Next, the customer is Arabsat, as I mentioned a second ago. The rocket is, of course, as I mentioned already like 5 times, the Falcon Heavy Block 5. Now there's 3 boosters on this, so there's 3 brand new cores. These cores have never flown before. They are all, again, Block 5 architecture, which is a little bit different than what flew in Demo 1. That was kind of pre-Block 5 era, so it didn't have the black raceways, black landing legs. It didn't have the upgraded Merlin engines. It didn't have the different heat shields at the base of the octaweb at the bottom of the rocket that makes it survive re-entry better. It didn't have all titanium grid fins. It used to only have titanium grid fins on the outer cores and aluminum grid fins on the center core. Now this beast is rocking all titanium grid fins, which are way cooler, way more bite. They're awesome. So this is it's actually basically a whole new rocket already. If you want to think about it this way, last year's rocket demonstrated the booster separation and all those unique systems that were unique compared to Falcon 9. This vehicle is slightly different. And of course, this is, sorry, I'm trying to get back into this here. This is like I said, these are 3 brand new cores. The serial numbers, the center core is 1055. .1, so .1 means it's the first flight of this. The side boosters are 1052.1 and 1053.1. So again, the .1 means that it's the first time they're flying. This is taking off from Launch Complex 39A, or LC-39A, at Kennedy Space Center. This satellite's pretty light, actually. It's only 6,000 kilograms. And it's heading out to a geostationary transfer orbit. And they are attempting to recover both side boosters, of course. And those will land at landing zones 1 and LZ1 and LZ2, which is literally, I'm closer to the landing than I am the takeoff, which will be nuts because I'll literally be looking up. I'm only about 7 or 6 kilometers away from the landing, which, oh, baby. But then the center core they are hoping to, let's see, Elon just tweeted something about postponing the launch. I hope that doesn't mean they are postponing it as we speak to tomorrow. Why don't I double check that? Because that's about as up to date as you can possibly get. When the boss man himself says, this is what Elon said. Upper atmospheric wind shear is very high. We'll have to postpone launch unless weather improves soon. So everyone, fingers crossed. Trust me, I would like to see this thing fly tonight. And yes, so they are attempting to land the center core, and that thing is going 1,000 kilometers downrange, which is nuts. That is like the farthest by a lot. That's about 600 miles. The furthest they had landed before, previously with a Falcon 9, is about 600 kilometers, about 400 miles downrange. So this thing is going to be cruising, going to be going way fast. It's definitely stretching the limits of this vehicle, ish maybe, I guess. But this is the second flight of the Falcon Heavy rocket, 4th mission for SpaceX in 2019, 36th, 37th, and 38 booster landings if all 3 succeed to land. There you have it. There is your pre-launch preview. Yeah. Again, you can always find those. Anytime I get a lot of questions on Twitter and stuff of, are they recovering this, all this stuff. Everything I just read you can find at everydayastronaut.com. You can click on pre-launch previews. We try to make them for most launches. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we get to see this thing take off today. But so if you ever have questions about upcoming launches, hopefully now you know where to go. Let's see. So again, Elon is talking about the upper level wind shears. So let me tell you about upper level wind shears. So right here we have some pretty decent ground wind. I don't know, probably 15 to 20 kilometer an hour wind gusts. It's nothing crazy. That's one thing they have to contend with. But the biggest thing actually the rocket has to contend with is when it's going really fast, flying through the atmosphere, it goes through different layers of the atmosphere so quickly where there's big gusts of jet streams that are going almost in different directions. And so if those upper level winds are too strong and veering off in one direction or the other, that can actually snap the rocket basically like a toothpick. So they like to avoid things like high upper level winds that can absolutely destroy the rocket. Generally a good idea. So that's what they're monitoring today. So they actually send up weather balloons every so often, and then they watch the trajectory of the weather balloons, and that's how they can calculate what the weather's like. So it's not looking great right now, but that's something we can't really observe from here. It's data, so we don't really have any updates unless we get them directly from Elon or SpaceX. So again, fingers crossed right now. It's not looking fantastic for a launch right now. But I'm going to get to some of your guys' questions. This, again, is pretty much a brand new beast. And yeah, I'm really excited. I really hope that we get to see it fly today because we're so stinking close to the landing pad. I will be able to report from exactly right here tomorrow again if it gets scrubbed to tomorrow. But I hope for all the people out here around the Cape, I really hope it goes off tonight because, yeah, it's just hard when, you know, I've got some friends here that brought their families. You know, Ben Solons from Teslanomics is out here with a secret prize where Tesla gave away viewership to the upcoming, to this Falcon Heavy launch. He brought his family all the way from San Diego. They came out here expecting it to be Sunday originally, and as I know, and maybe some of you rocket nerds know, you never want to book flights on basically anything until static fire, because these things just constantly move. There's so many variables when you're dealing with a rocket launch, obviously weather, range safety, all these different things. The vehicle itself can be temperamental sometimes and things like that, but this thing's actually been pretty smooth to roll out. But yeah, so hopefully for all of our sake, it goes off tonight. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. They are watching it. I wanted to give a big thanks to Dave, Dave Tucker, Ben Sanford, and Yorin, Go Falcon Heavy. Thank you, Tim. You're welcome. Casper, 3-sided coin. Hi, Tim. No black interstage, but there are black landing legs. And if not, why? So there are black landing legs. There is a white interstage. And that's a little bit speculative here. We actually have never really heard. I'm really excited to hopefully, I hope Elon's out here for press conference because I think there'd be some things that we'd really like to know specifically about this vehicle. For instance, we think the side booster nose cones are reused from the first flight, but I've also heard that they're not reused and that they're just already kind of charred, maybe from static fire or something like that. So it's hard to tell, to be honest. The center core is an entirely different rocket than a Falcon 9. So the Falcon 9 is able to use the carbon fiber interstage, but there's a chance that, you know, all those loads from the 5 million pounds of thrust going up through that interstage might be something that requires an entirely different interstage. So it might have to be aluminum, you know, they might not be able to handle a carbon fiber. Who knows? Again, it is a different vehicle. And that's also why the nose cones, you know, they aren't black. We kind of expected, a lot of people before we saw this vehicle, we thought maybe it'd have black nose cones on the side boosters and a black interstage, and to our surprise, they're both white. But they are black. They are Block 5, and they do have the Block 5 landing legs, which are upgraded. They're lighter weight, and they deploy and can be retracted for easy transporting. So it's decked out in that stuff too. But yeah, it is a different rocket than Falcon 9, and that's probably why it's got a white interstage. Yeah, so good question. Thanks, 3-sided coin. Chris Harris, how much delta V is required to launch a Falcon Heavy 26,000 light years? Wink, wink. Maybe some more RTVs. Honestly, I have no idea. I'm very bad. We could probably pull it up in Kerbal. Actually, Declan Murphy over here with flightclub.io, he would probably tell you exactly how much delta V is required for a maneuver like that. He's been running simulations when we were setting up here. If you haven't been to flightclub.io, it's insane. I'll just put it that way. He basically figures out where the rocket's going to launch and simulates it the entire trajectory. And then there's a photographer toolkit. So if you're someone out here with media and you're a Patreon supporter of his, you can basically click and put in your camera variables and see your field of view to know what you're going to be shooting before you even shoot it. It's nuts. You're a madman. And yeah, so he actually he's ran all the simulations. So we actually know exactly what we're going to be looking at. He even pointed to the bushes where I'm going to see the re-entry burn. It's that nuts. Yeah, don't ask me. He's just a savant. And yeah, so we could run that in flightclub.io. Obi-Wan says, hey Tim, I'm watching Apollo 13 while I'm watching this. Greetings from Denmark. You can multitask much better than I can. If I was watching a movie and a live stream, I think my head would explode with two different conversations. I can't even listen to like music, or if someone's talking and I'm trying to watch TV like 3 rooms over, I curl up in a ball and die. So congrats to you. That's a nice talent. Maybe you'd probably be a good translator because you could listen to one thing and do something else. I can't do that. Corey, thank you for your stream. My 4-year-old son and I love to watch launches with my commentary. Sorry, I can't even read. Well, that's awesome, Corey. I hope you and your son, I hope this thing goes off for your sake. And of course, for all of our sake too, and for SpaceX's and Arabsat's sake. Did it drop?
Down to 2,500.
Okay, I think we'll be okay.
Trending down.
All right. So yeah, good luck. Hope it's okay. Jonathan, so excited. Hoping all 3 boosters land. I'm betting, honestly, I think they learned a lot from the first mission. And I'm actually kind of betting that they can land this one no problem now. All three, of course. The first mission last year, the demo mission, they did not land the center core. And the center core ran out of, the thing we've heard is it ran out of TTEB. That's triethyl aluminum triethyl borane, which is the fluid that they use to start the engines, basically. That gets the pumps spinning, the turbo pumps in the Merlin engines. That gets them spinning up, and then it ignites the engine, basically, and that's how they ignite it. The confusing thing for me is that trajectory that the center core flew was very similar to other Falcon 9 missions, so it's a little bit confusing why they'd run out of it. You know, that's a known variable ahead of time, you'd think, but maybe something happened and we still don't exactly know like how or why it ran out. So I'm sure they addressed things like that. They also, in December of 2018, had the CRS-16 landing failure where they had the hydraulic pump stall that controls the grid fins. The grid fins are those little things at the top of in the inner stage of the rocket that steer it through the atmosphere. And when those failed, they found out there's just actually a bleed valve they had to put in, which made it more reliable and got rid of that entire possibility for a stall zone. So they got that in there now. So, you know, they've ticked off a couple boxes of unknown variables that were previously unknown to them. And now there's, you know, smooth sailing, hopefully. So with all those lessons learned, I really hope that they can land all three cores. That would just be a fantastic demonstration of this vehicle. That's the whole point of Falcon Heavy, is you're able to potentially reuse 90% of the vehicle. Instead of reusing like, you know, 65% of the vehicle, you're now able to reuse 90. And that's obviously a huge leg up in the industry. As a matter of fact, this exact rocket already has its next flight booked. So they are 100% planning on landing they're planning on landing all three cores and reusing them within a month or two for the Air Force STP-2 mission. So, I mean, that's how much confidence they have that they're going to land all three. I think that speaks volumes. I share that same confidence. I think they know what they're doing, and I think they've learned lessons from all previous flights to make it so the Falcon Heavy can handle that stuff. So, all right, let's keep reading here. Marty, if Falcon Heavy has a RUD, which is a rapid unscheduled disassembly, do I have the humanity phrase prepared? Love the channel, keep it up. No, I'm not gonna pre-plan if the vehicle has some form of massive unscheduled anomaly on the launch pad. Maybe I'll just, you know, go on my hands and knees and say, oh, the humanity, I don't know. Whatever comes out, hopefully it's not an expletive so that the children watching, their precious ears are protected, but I can't promise you if we would happen to witness that, what would happen. So, fair warning. It won't though, it won't, guys, come on, don't think like that. Thomas, am I at the Saturn V Center? I want to meet you. Unfortunately, Thomas, I am at the NASA Causeway, which is, I'm probably about 10 miles from you right now. The Saturn V Center is, the VAB is over my shoulder this way, and you're basically on the other side of the VAB from me, probably about 2 miles from the VAB. That's the Banana Creek Viewing Center. That is the Feel the Heat package for those of you that want to see a launch. When that is offered, that is definitely the best spot for the public. It is unbelievable. I mean, you're really close. As a matter of fact, you're closer, Thomas, you're closer to the launch than I am. I think you're only about 4 miles, 6 kilometers away. And I'm like 10 miles, 7-ish kilometers, 2 kilometers away, or miles. So yeah, you're actually closer to the launch. I'm out here because the landing is just phenomenal from right here. So otherwise, I would say hi to you, Thomas. Well, not right now. I'm saying hi to you now, but I probably wouldn't really say hi to you because I'd be on camera. And that might be some kind of interruptive thing that not everyone would want to see. So thank you, Thomas. Arvid, when is the window tomorrow if this is going to be scrubbed? It'll be the same time tomorrow. They're going to be targeting the same window tomorrow. So that makes it nice and easy for all of us. Yeah, so hopefully, thank you, Arvid. Alfredo, I am great, thank you. Will the center core go at full thrust? So last time the center core didn't even need to fully throttle up during the initial ascent at all. And we're kind of thinking it'll do that same thing again. That way it preserves fuel, because that's the whole thing. There is no fuel crossfeed on this vehicle. So I don't know if you might play Kerbal Space Program, you might have strap-on solid or, you know, other external boosters like this, like in a heavy configuration. You can pipe that on over some of the fuel from the outer cores and keep all the engines fully running at full throttle. And then when you do that, the center core stays fully fueled so that when the boosters detach, you are still fully fueled in that center core. That center core can burn for a long time, for another 2.5 minutes or whatever. So that's not what they do with the Falcon Heavy though. That's not what they do with the Delta IV Heavy. They throttle down the center core, and that allows it then to have extra fuel so that the center core basically gets to ride for, you know, almost like a free ride for a bit using those side cores. And then once the side core is attached, it can burn for an additional minute plus. And that's how it gets additional velocity. That lets the upper stage have some of the work cut out for it already. And this particular mission, guys, people are saying, you know, why are they using a Falcon Heavy for a mission that could easily be done on a Falcon 9? And yet, technically, yes, this could be done using a Falcon 9. But the satellite's actually waited a long time to get to its destination. And so with the Falcon Heavy, what you can do to help a customer out is you can put it in a higher eccentric orbit. You can also raise the lowest point in the orbit. That makes it so they don't have to do as many orbital circularization burns with their spacecraft. You can also match the inclination more exactly. There's a lot of things they can do that can make it so the spacecraft doesn't actually have to do as much work, and that can save months, believe it or not. It can take months for a geostationary satellite to actually get into its final destination, because it just does slow, teeny tiny little burns like every time it passes through orbit. And when you have a vehicle like Falcon Heavy, you can get it into a much closer to final orbit right off the bat. So yeah, I don't know why I got on that rant. Why will the center core go at full thrust? That allows it, so the upper stage basically has more delta V, more it can do in the meantime. So with the Falcon Heavy than it would do. I have to real quick. I have to send a. We have the awesome. Okay, hang on. I have to send this to my friend that is the producer. Everyone say hi to Ben. He is producing this from Cedar Falls, Iowa, where I live. And I'm sending him an email with a way that we can listen to the Countdown Net so that we can keep on top of, I don't know if that'll work. Hey, is anyone out here going to be listening to the Countdown Net? They did just email it to us. If anyone can, that'd be great. And then, yeah, if you can, let me know, and then we can share it on air if they're beginning fuel up and stuff. And by the way, Ben, have we ticked off pointy end up yet? Maybe I lost Ben. Ben, are you still there? What was that? Yeah, if we haven't clicked off pointy end is up, I have confirmed that visually with a close inspection at the pad. So, all right, so it is official, guys. The pointy end of the Falcon Heavy is up, and the flamey end is down. That is the correct orientation of the vehicle at launch, so you're welcome. I don't know how you guys would do this without me. What's the next step, Ben? Okay, we'll wait until we hear that. So we're going to be listening into the call, and if we hear that they are go for launch, we'll let you know. They probably will proceed through the entire countdown. We'll tick it off for you guys as soon as we know, and if we can, then we'll get right up. They'll probably go right up to like T minus 7 seconds before they'd actually call it, just in case the weather does clear up right at the last second. Since they go through all this work already, they might as well. Because think about it, they have to be out here. They have to pay for the range safety. They have to pay for, I mean, everything: the fuel, the people, all the human hours of people sitting in the control rooms and all that stuff. The ground personnel. They've already paid for all that labor, so you might as well give it a shot, even if it doesn't look like it's a very good chance. Let's see here. So let's see. Okay, Nate Dog 2400. Can't wait for awesome pics from today. Tonight, if it goes off, well, now that it's getting into the 8:32 time frame, that is almost a full hour after sunset. Sunset here is about 7:45. And so we might miss out on some of that twilight phenomena, which is where it's dark here at the ground, but the rocket goes so high it actually gets back, gets illuminated by the sun again. So down here we just see rocket, and all of a sudden you see the exhaust light up. So there would be the chance, if it goes off after sunset, that we will see 3 massive like octopuses in the sky, which will be absolutely bonkers. So yes, if it goes off tonight, these will be some of the best pictures you probably will ever see. Period. Although right now, guys, oh my word, there's just a pack of flamingos flying overhead. The sun is just gorgeous out here. I know you guys probably aren't seeing what I'm seeing, but this is like a beautiful, beautiful night. It'd really be a shame if it doesn't go off tonight. But we'll see. Thanks, Nate Dog. Jeffrey Tripp, is Falcon Heavy more susceptible to winds than Falcon 9? Ground winds, yes. It has a lot more surface area down here at the ground, and it probably might be the same for upper level winds too. I don't know, but I know for a fact that the ground winds down here, depending on the wind direction, so if it's more of a north-south wind, that can push the vehicle like a sail, and that's not good. You don't want that. So they do definitely have to monitor that, and they probably have different constraints for the Falcon Heavy than they would for anything else. So yeah, that's a good question. And thank you, Jeffrey. Because reasons, I bet you a 6-pack of your favorite brew, they all return safely this time. Well, the price of a 6-pack. Well, thank you, because reasons. I agree with you. I would be on the same side of your bet, so I don't know if that's how betting and gambling works. If that is how gambling works, we both can bet, and then we'll pay each other $10 or whatever, and then I'll have $10 and you'll have $10, and together we'll have $10 still. So I'll take you up on that. Thank you, because reasons. Snarfer Yeah, sure. Snarfer I like that name. Yeah. Any idea when the launch window is for tomorrow in case it gets scrubbed? Did you already read that? Yeah, it'll be the same time as today. So that 6:35-ish to 8:32, which is like, what was that? 22:35 to 00:32 UTC-ish. I don't know, something like that. It'll be the same as today. Kashal says, what do you think of the new photo of this supermassive black hole in M87? It's very cool. I mean, that is one of those things. I love that it matched up with the predicted models of what a black hole actually looks like. Basically, exactly. It's a good first step in photographing a black hole. It's not like the most memorizing thing I've ever seen. It's a little blurry. No offense to the scientists that made that incredible images, but it's probably just the beginning. Think about what will happen in 50, 100 years when we have better optics and better, radio telescopes and stuff. We're probably going to get even cooler pictures than that. That one was fantastic. Not to, throw salt at the people that did a lot of hard work. But yeah, it's really cool. I really like that it matches the simulations. But it's probably just the beginning of black hole photography. You heard it here first. And thank you. Lawrence, where did that go? This is hard. If they scrub today, you should wear Falcon Heavy t-shirt tomorrow. Fingers crossed, all cores in. I didn't bring a Falcon Heavy shirt. I am not, how did I not do that? I failed. Oh, this shirt has a little Falcon Heavy on it. Oh, by the way, the science shirts like this that I'm wearing, those are $5 off today and tomorrow. We'll go ahead and say today and tomorrow, and the next day if it scrubs today. These are $5 off in my web store for the shirt and the hoodies using capital Falcon Heavy, all one word. For the coupon, you'll take $5 off in the web store. So grab these shirts. They're on special right now, everydayastronaut.com/shop, if you so want. But yeah, unfortunately, the Falcon Heavy shirts, those were limited edition. So you can't find that there. Sorry. Get back to me. Let's see. Okay. Okay, sorry. If they scrub today, Daddy, Tim Dodd just said a boo-boo. What? Oh, yes. Sorry, that's back from then. Yeah, I would like to not use curse words on air because I know that a lot of families watch my content, so I will try not to. Thanks, Chris. Oh, whoops. Seb McCain, how can I know well in advance of a SpaceX launch? And where is the public viewing point again? So, great question. Type in where to watch rocket launches in Florida. I have a video that gives you everything you need to know already, including what apps to use that can, like SpaceX Now, Next Space Flight. There's a whole bunch of really good apps out there that will give you an actual notification of upcoming launches. They can put them in your calendar, things like that. I use a bunch of those apps. You can also go to everydayastronaut.com/pre-launch preview, and we have all the upcoming launches listed as well. And most of those we do make dynamic links a few days ahead of time to an article that previews the upcoming launch as well. So yeah, so that's those are the ways that I do that. And then the place you can view, again, that video, and I actually also have an article version of it as well. So if you search, you might find the article. The article's in the link in the description too in the video if you see that first. But that has all the different places you can view from. And the place that I was specifically talking about earlier was the Saturn V Center here at NASA Kennedy Space Center. And you get this through Kennedy Space Center's like visitor center. And it's also called the Banana Creek Viewing Area. They oftentimes call it Feel the Heat because you are as close as the general public will get. And that is a fantastic place to view from. So, and they also, I think they even like cater food and stuff. There's also, you're at the Saturn V Center, so you have the ability to like walk inside and get, be in air conditioning and stuff if you want. I think that would definitely be the best option for you if you're looking to have the best viewing experience. And thank you, by the way, Seb. Dougalwoo. The launch has been pushed back to 4 a.m. GMT Eastern. I don't know. The launch end of the window is 8:32 here, and that is when it's been pushed back to. But thank you. Caver Eric, thank you very much. Chris Harris, more risk of a Falcon Heavy over just a Falcon 9, though. Yes, the Falcon Heavy definitely has a higher risk altogether. It has a lot more moving parts, has a lot more events than a normal Falcon 9. It is a different rocket than the Falcon 9, and therefore it has different things that it's going to be fighting up against. So, yeah, it is different, and it is a little bit riskier. But that's also what makes it so awesome. Is the fact that they can successfully launch a vehicle like this with that's this complicated. Richard, I believe the center core is not being reused for the Air Force mission. They do have an extra center core in case something happens with this launch. Air Force might have required a fresh center core. I did not realize that, Richard. I did hear that someone spotted a center core very recently in transit. That would probably make sense. I can see that. And besides that, I guess they've never reflown a center core too. So I guess that would actually make sense that they might look for a new one. So cool. And because they wouldn't have ever had the opportunity to tear one down, see how it fared. Especially, this will be the furthest landing they've ever done. So I can see where they'd want a brand new core. Thank you for that information. I can't verify that, but that actually sounds reasonable. That sounds very reasonable. I don't know why that really wouldn't be the case. So thank you, Richard. Because reasons. How do you explain you have more viewers than any other YouTube channel covering this event? Well, because reasons, I don't have reasons for that because reasons. Maybe this is because this is what I do. I cover launches, this is my channel. It's dedicated to this, so I think the people that watch my content are familiar at least with the what I cover, my general knowledge of this stuff, so that you can ask questions like that. I don't really know. I don't know why. Don't ask me why. I don't know the secret sauce of YouTube. If I did, I'd sell it, and then I'd make a book called The Secret Sauce of YouTube. That's just not what I'm into, though, right now. So I don't really know. It's because reasons. You're welcome. Jimmy Thomas, thank you very much. Arvid, you should work for SpaceX to confirm. Oh, where did that go? Where'd it go? Let's see. You should work for SpaceX to confirm pointy end up. They need me. I think all rocket companies need me. That's a hard job. It's a visual confirmation. I have to give it a visual assessment to really see if the pointy end of the rocket is up and the flamey end's down. I'm thinking about starting some kind of internship program, maybe a mentorship. It is a long process to really get to where you're at, where you can just visually confirm that. A visual assessment of pointy end up. It's hard. And I think SpaceX could, I might just go freelance on that, a contract worker, and, do pointy end up for SpaceX and the other launch providers. I think it's a good career path. Yeah. So stupid. Sorry. Eric, just for a pointy end up, thanks, Tim. Do you know, theoretically, how many engines can fail in order to remain successful? Eric, I think Elon actually mentioned that the redundancy and the tolerance of the vehicle, depending on where you're at in ascent, and as long as the engines, for the most part, because they're in that octaweb, have basically blast shielding that would prevent a cascading event where one fails and it knocks out the other engine and knocks out the other engine. So they can contain any engine, which have really never had an engine failure. They did on one of their very first Falcon 9 missions, they did have one engine go kaboomy, and the mission was perfectly fine. That was a long time ago. There's been more flight hours of this engine than just about any other engine ever, and it's insanely reliable. So that being said, if they were to have, I think the Falcon Heavy, depending on what part of launch it would have experience a failure, I mean, it has a lot of redundancy. When you have 27 engines, you have a lot of points, especially later in the ascent. You could potentially lose like 3, 4, 5 engines. I think at liftoff it'd probably be pretty hard, especially if it's off center. Say the outer cores would lose 3 or 4 engines or something on ascent. That probably wouldn't work out too well. But I think if it's spread out evenly, there's a lot of redundancy when you have 27 engines, and that's one of the cool things when you're dealing with a vehicle like this. Is it has built-in redundancy as opposed to a single engine. If you have a single point failure, where if that one engine fails, that vehicle's failing. And it's a funny engineering trade-off, because you also introduce more points of failure, but you also introduce redundancy. So it's interesting. I'd really like to see I would like to sit in on a debate where people are talking about statistically, the bathtub curve of what is the most viable. Yeah, I don't know. If you think about it, even if a rocket only had 3 engines, you probably couldn't lose any of those 3 on ascent. You'd probably need at least like 5 or some number of engines for the most part to really be able to even have a true engine out capability. So again, I'm sure there is some number there. And don't forget, 27, yeah, that's cool. But Starship, the Super Heavy booster for Starship, which is SpaceX's upcoming rocket, that's going to have 31 engines. And while I'm at it, I had someone on Twitter ask me, why just 37 when Falcon Heavy has 27? Like, why that? Don't forget that the Raptor engines are more than twice, or about twice as powerful as the Merlin engine. So the Raptor engine is unbelievably powerful. So not only does it have, about 5% more engines or whatever, it's also twice as powerful. And twice as powerful, it has a lot more fuel in it. That fuel is also more efficient. So it burns higher specific impulse than RP1 does. And it has it on both stages. So it has a way higher payload capability. Right now, hopefully it bounces back up. Okay, so hopefully I'm back live for you guys. Okay, cool. What a slick system. I owe a thanks to Unlimited IRL that hooked me up with this backpack solution that has like 4 routers, and they all get bonded together into some crazy modem thing, and if you lose signal, it goes to that cool technical difficulties thing, and I can keep going and not lose everything. So not a bad solution, really. We were talking about Super Heavy and how that's going to be awesome, and how, oh yeah, so, just because, the difference between a really heavy payload and a not really heavy payload, in most of the world, like, it might be between like 5 tons to 10 tons to 15 tons or something. Maybe some bigger ones these days would be 20 or 30 tons, but we haven't seen anything that heavy fly in a long time. Those would be really heavy payloads. Super Heavy is going to be lifting up to 100 tons. So that's huge. And so don't forget, just because you have more engines and more power doesn't necessarily mean you can lift more, because you're mostly lifting more fuel. And then more fuel means more delta V, et cetera, et cetera. It's this whole cascading thing of, that's the tyranny of the rocket equation, is where if you have more fuel, it takes more fuel to lift that fuel because that fuel weighs more, and then you require more fuel to lift that fuel, and then all of a sudden you have to have another engine to lift that fuel because now it's heavier, and it just keeps going. But at some point, they find a nice balance, apparently, they're pursuing with the Super Heavy, where it'll be a really, kick butt rocket. So thank you for that question. I think that was a long random rant. Let's see where we're at now. Sorry, I keep losing these. Let's see. Okay, let's see. What was that? Oh, yeah. I'm hearing, apparently there's a lot of compliments about how great my tuft of hair is. I am going gray, just in this specific, very fuzzy region of my chest. Yeah, I'm glad that you guys are noticing and enjoying it very much. Okay. From one musician to another, thanks for all you do. Well, thank you, Jason. Whoa, Jason, thank you so much. That is very, very, very nice of you. I really appreciate that, and I appreciate the appreciation for the music. I like creating music. I like just making stuff. Jeff Nelson, that's a fancy tuft of 70s chest hair you've got there. Why, yes it is. I don't know a good way to clip these things. I have like a phantom clip that I could have put down here and then you probably wouldn't see it. But you know what? Today's not that day. Thomas Wolford, the SpaceX live stream is wrong. Launch is not at 11:30. Window closes at 8:36. Well, give them time, Thomas. They have a whole department that's probably scrambling to keep up with the new T0 as well. So, because reasons, oh yeah, the 6-pack bet, I'm hoping it's a win-win bet for both of us. Go SpaceX. Thank you, because reasons. 31 Edward Rise? 31 Edward Rise. What is the max wind speed for them to push the launch? I have no idea the exact. I don't think they would actually even publish, their shear loads of like how much upper level winds they could handle, what the ground winds. We don't have those numbers, but I think it's safe to say probably somewhere between like 1 mile an hour and 3,000 mile an hour. There's probably somewhere in there is their maximum. But honestly, I don't actually have that number. But thank you, Edward R. Eyes. Corains, do you think the Central Core will fail like the last one? No, I don't. I think they learned a lot of lessons and they've done a lot of really spicy Block 5 landings since then. I think they're going to be onto something here. Think about how much data they have now on landing rockets. Last year they landed a ton of rockets. They only had one landing failure, CRS-16, and that still taught them lessons. So they have a lot. They learned a ton. They learned a ton in 2018. They launched a ton in 2018, and I have a lot of confidence that they will have no problem landing the center core when it launches, hopefully tonight. And thank you, Blor Gus. Thank you, Fran 5975. Thank you very much, everyone. Please say thank you to Fran. That is unbelievably generous. That is very, very, very nice of you. So thank you so much, Fran. Everyone, say hi to Fran and thank you. Geez. Alan Hogland, what does the weather at sea need to be safe to safely land the center core? See, the thing is, the vehicle compared to the velocity of the rocket, it's pretty heavy. It's pretty skinny. It doesn't have a lot of surface area. Where all the engines are, that's a heavy thing. And yes, of course, it's affected by wind, but it's probably not as affected by wind as you might think. It looks like wind could just blow it over, but it's a big 20-ton vehicle. It's not just going to get thrown off. So I would probably safely assume they've had really rough seas, really high winds, and I think they've landed in, I have no idea, 20, 30 mile an hour winds. Sorry. What is that? 30 mile an hour, 35 to 50 kilometer an hour winds. Yeah, something like that. So I don't know. I can't give you an exact number on that again. But it's probably surprisingly, they can probably do surprisingly well with wind. Fintan Burke, they are standing down. They are officially standing down. I'm going to try to read through you guys' comments quick before we get whisked out of here. I'm sure we're going to get whisked out of here really quickly so they don't waste all their time. Dang it. Yeah, I'm sorry, everybody. They are scrubbing today's launch attempt, probably mostly just due to weather. They probably don't want to pay for the fuel to load up the vehicle. But thank you, Alan. Fintan, they're scrubbing it. You're right. Travis, thank you. Zero chance. Looks like a feather on your neck. It's not a Blue Origin. Ryan, thank you. Just the countdown clock. That's all autonomous. I don't do that. Rabster Prime, thank you, Tim, for your pointy and orientation expertise. Thank you so much. You don't have much of an eye for setting them up. Olsalvania, thank you very much. Jonathan, thank you. Jordan. Luli, thank you very much. Science hoodies, I will have that fixed for tomorrow. I'm sorry about that. Curious Airlines, thank you. Happy Hacking Video Blog. What was higher priority for the Cape schedule? A new launch date for Falcon Heavy in case it's scrubbed today, or the upcoming launch of CRS-17 this week? That's a good question. CRS-17 can probably take off. That's a Slick 40 launch, so they could really fly really close to each other. I don't know if there honestly is a priority. Quinn, thank you. Chris, oh crap, rocket just hopped upside down. Thank you, Sam and Doctor and Craig. What's the cost of Falcon Heavy launch and the cost of a scrub? I honestly don't know. I think the cost of fuel is about $200,000 per Falcon 9, so I would guess just the fuel alone is probably more than $500,000. And that being said, you got to think about all the personnel as well that are on, on time right now. That is not cheap. Yeah. All right. Sorry guys, I'm trying to keep up. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, boy, toy and tech turtle. Thank you. Sleeping sexy. Elon is a genius. His lineup spells out sexy. You're exactly right. Cam, nice chest hair, daddy. You're welcome for that, Cam. Blorgus, thank you. Claire, nice work, mate. Watching from Australia. Just shave your head periodically like I do. AirPods. I like all these questions. How the Tesla you hire going compared to the 3? I like my 3 better than the X, to be honest. That's just a personal taste. But thank you. That was a lot of packed into one question. I got to keep rolling. Zach, thank you. I might not have time, guys, before I get whisked away here. Precast. I've ever been to the Palace, the Corn Palace City. Is that in South Dakota or Nebraska? I've been there. Yes, but I'm from Iowa, so we got some corn. Thomas Wolford, sending you another 20 for pronouncing my name right on the first try. Well, yes, I did it. I pronounced something for the first time in my life. Broccoli 32, standing down. Dang it, yes. Sean, if it is scrubbed, are you doing a meetup for drinks at the bar? I've done 2 already, and quite frankly, I get really exhausted after these days. We've been out here since 7 a.m. basically, so these are long days. So I think I will just go to bed very early so I can be, doing what I do tomorrow. So. But thank you, Sean and Arvid, for you to only use metric system. Hey, at least I try to do poor conversions on air live. And Top Hat Hiker, when will we be going into rocket? And I love your videos. Keep up work. Sorry, that wasn't for you. That was to Elon Musk. Thank you, Top Hat Hiker. I don't know if Elon will be going on a rocket. I don't know if I'll be going on a rocket. Period. And Austin Bounce House Rentals. Thank you. Thank you to you guys. And again, remember, go to everydayastronaut.com/pre-launch preview so you can get a rundown on tomorrow's upcoming launch and hopefully future launches as well. And I will be still running this special on this shirt and a version of the shirt that's a hoodie, $5 off today, tomorrow, and Friday. Everydayastronaut.com/shop. Type in all capital letters and one word, Falcon Heavy. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Make sure you're following me on Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. And yeah, we'll be right back here in this exact same spot. Hopefully tomorrow around, I think I'll try to go on air about an hour and 15 to an hour and a half early, about like I tried to today. So fingers crossed for better weather tomorrow. I really hope this thing goes off. I will be here until Sunday. If you're out here at the Cape or you're anywhere near here, don't forget I will be at Yuri's Night on Saturday night, which is at Kennedy Space Center. That's an awesome space party put on. It's celebrating it's the anniversary of Yuri Gagarin's inaugural space, the first human to go to space. Just a big party. They actually have them all around the world. You can go to yurisnight.net, I think, and you can look up Yuri's Night. There might be a party near you if you aren't near here, or you can put on your own party, invite your friends, and just hang out and celebrate humans exploring the cosmos together. But yeah, I'll be here at the Kennedy Space Center one. It'll be awesome. So if you're near here, if you're here for Falcon Heavy, get a ticket right now. Come say hi. I'll be there just hanging out. Oh, I missed a whole bunch of things. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, Druv, thank you. Ron, thank you very much. And Savo, let's go. Unfortunately, we're not launching today. But that's going to do it for me, guys. Again, find me wherever you use the internet. You'll just type in Everyday Astronaut. I don't know. You'll find me. And I'll be here again tomorrow doing the same thing, and hopefully we see a gorgeous launch. I really hope it happens at the beginning of the launch window so we get this gorgeous sky like this. So fingers crossed. And that's going to do it for me. Ben, are you ready for that outro? All right. This is weird. I have someone else running the show. And again, everyone say hi to Ben, and thanks.